Ògíamè Atúwàtse III and Olu of Warri III. From the linguist, it says, Osabarimba can still believe the love that you've shown him today, leaving behind your kingdom all the way from Nigeria to come to Ghana, Cape Coast, to celebrate with him during this time. And as you have accepted his water as an act of goodwill, he will also present his gifts or drinks to you to show you that you are indeed home. So you are duly welcome here. Again, this place is very peaceful as your home. So feel free, enjoy yourselves as you come to celebrate with us. This is the message.
Being brothers across this continent, it is very much a strong belief of mine that as Africans, we should not restrict ourselves to the confinement of political lines that have been drawn on a map. Lines that were not even drawn by our forebears. They were not drawn by our ancestors per se. The same interesting people who came were the ones who sat and determined these are the lines. Well, while those lines may serve their administrative purposes, I think it's very important that we see ourselves beyond those lines. I have always seen myself as an African monarch, happened to be domiciled in Warri. Not necessarily as a Nigerian monarch, but as an African monarch. And this is why when we are given invitations such as the one that you so graciously extended to us, we weigh it very heavily, and we always try to honor those cross-border invitations, because I suppose historically, because of whatever considerations, be they logistics or whatever, we have not been able to establish these frequent meetings, and it is our intention to remedy that as much as possible, and by doing so demonstrate to the entire continent that as a people, truly, when you say they think they are smarter and wiser than we are truly a resilient people. And I think oftentimes we forget where we are coming from. Perhaps due to political and economic realities, we focus on that, but when we remind ourselves of the greatness from which we descend, it encourages us to raise our heads high and know that those who have come before us have done so much, and we should be standing on their shoulders to do better and greater than they did.
This is historic Cape Coast Dungeons, which was built by the English around 1665. The British built this castle at the time transatlantic slave trade or trafficking started on the continent of Africa for about 200 years already, because slavery started at Elmina Castle by Portuguese around 1482. Elmina Castle was built, that is far away from the one at the tip, that's Elmina Castle, built in 1482 under the leadership of one Don Diego Giazambuja. It is 543 years old, and that is the first and biggest European building in the whole of Africa. It was built 2 years after the Warri Kingdom was established. So you can see the connection, 1482, so the Warri Kingdom is very, very old and ancient. That's Elmina Castle. And that has the Catholic Church. From here they moved to Warri and they built the first Catholic Church in Nigeria, in Warri Kingdom. They were at Elmina for about 155 years. The Dutch attacked them 1637. So Dutch were at Elmina for almost 50 years. The British came to build this one. The way they designed these dungeons, they kept some 1,300 black people at one particular time. Men were 1,000, women 300. That is where I am coming to show you today. They stayed 2 weeks minimum to 3 months in the underground dungeons, all because of availability of British ships. But 1807, British passed a law that they stopped this trafficking. That was led by one William Wilberforce. 1814, Holland also did the same thing. But from that time to 1860, on this continent, slave trafficking did not stop. That continued for over 40 years. So 1860, everything ended. So they used this building as a colonial administrative center. Not only Ghana, British colonial for this building, but other English colonies in West Africa, like Nigeria, Sierra Leone. This building served as the headquarters. See these rooms here? All the rooms down here, they serve as European storerooms or warehouses, where they store sardine, sugar, mirrors, tobacco, champagne, second-hand clothing, smoking pipes, plates, perfumes. These rooms are where they store them. So the storerooms are even better than where they kept ancestors. But the rooms at the top, all round, were residences and offices for the slave masters. But when Europeans came to Africa, the situation changed quickly. They capitalized on our system. So they brought guns to our kings and queens. And they brought the guns to replace the then bows and arrow that our people were using. And we know the power of the gun. They added the sardine, the tobacco, champagne, mirror. They were given to the Africans. And the Africans were to pay. But the system was still barter. It was barter trade. And they convinced the Africans that they needed guns to protect themselves. With the same guns to fight the other tribes, take everything. By so doing, they deepened the division among the already divided Africans. The guns get to our kinsmen. They organize themselves, use their weapons against the other tribes, divide and conquer. So the more they go to the war, the end result was to get innocent people like us in exchange for European goods as captives. And the Africans came from all over West Africa. When they would arrive in this castle, they would send them to a place called Palaver Hall. But Palaver actually means trouble, talking, chaos, confusion, and it originated from Portuguese. This was the auctioning block where enslaved Africans were auctioned. And I told you how they got Africans. They came from all over West Africa. Some who come from today's Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, including Ghana. They walked after capturing them. They were first gathered at Salaga in northern Ghana, Tumu, Paganania. When they get huge numbers, they will chain them. They walk months. When they arrive in the castle, before they go to the dungeon, they brought them here for auctioning. So because of auctioning, there was some misunderstanding between the buyer and then the supplier. That's the word palaver came trouble. After that, they will brand them. They will design a mental stamp using their trademark, put it in fire. When it's hot, do branding to show that you were bought by this company or that company. So this was the auctioning block markets for that time. All these spaces were designed for 1,000 captives at one time, but they divided the dungeons into 5. 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each had about 200 captives. So I'm going to turn up the lights so that you can have a feel. This is it without electricity. Very, very dark. This is how they built it. See the hole right there? That is the only source of light and air for those in this particular dungeon for 200 people. This was the only window. This is the last chamber for the men, which also had about 200 men. And if you look at the floor, this is showing clearly this is all solidified waste. Because the original floor is made of bent bricks. This is solidified waste. And out of the 1,000 people kept here, by the time they were ready to go with them, a lot died. Those who survived, that was not the end of their journey. They'll bring them from the dungeon, chain. When they reach here, those days, there was a hole at the back of this white cloth. British called that one a tunnel. So they marched them through the tunnel. They'll take them all the way to the door of no return. That was the end. They never get a chance to come back again. Because they stay here for a month and more. Some were sick and weak because of the bad treatment given to them. So when they got to the sick ones, those ones were selected like this and sent to that small room to wait temporarily, just to allow those who were strong to walk through the tunnel to the door of no return. That was why British created this window, because in the olden days there was no light. So this was created for them to see who is sick and who is not sick. So this dungeon was called selection room or sorting room. Whenever the stronger ones left, those who were sick were brought from there. They kept them back here, but they died because they were not given any medical attention. What we see here is a shrine, but the shrine was not here. We must know that before Europeans came to Africa with the Christianity and Islamic religion that was brought by the Arabs, Africa, this is our religion. Our people offer libation through smaller gods and through the ancestors to the Almighty God. Before British built the dungeon in 1665, the indigenous people called the Fetu people had a shrine like this around this part of the land. When the British came, they occupied this space, they built the dungeons. They stopped the owners of the shrine to come closer to pray. The local people came for the shrine to their community. So when the British left, they brought it back here. This was brought here around 1960. They call it Nana Tabil. Cape Coast has 77 of this. Nana is one of them. If you look around here, you can see flowers. It doesn't mean that somebody died here. Our ancestors taken away, they did not get the opportunity to come back alive. But the descendants are coming home globally, like you are all here now. Whenever they come, we go on the walking tour like this. In fact, they cry. After that, some of them pray, they pour libation, they leave And then they leave these flowers here in the memory of our people. So this is the door of no return. If you go through the door of no return during the time of slave trafficking as a black person, one, you would lose your identity, you lose your culture, respect, and everything. And from here, some of the captives were taken to North America, United States, places like Jamestown in Virginia, North and South Carolina, and all the original British colonies America. Those who went, they were taken from here, the 13 colonies. Others went to England, Liverpool. And Liverpool was the biggest slave harbor in the whole of Europe. Others went to Bristol, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, including Barbados. But those who went to Brazil, they were taken from Almeida Castle by Portuguese, because Brazil was a Portuguese colony. So at the time the sea was here. This construction you see here was done just about some 7 years ago. So the sea was right here. So after going through the door, they put them on canoes. On the canoes, they go to the bigger ships. That was the end. Nobody came back again. This is a fishing village. You can see from the background, fishing community.
What's a landing center?
And at the back of no return, we have the return. Look at it. There's the return at the back of the no return. The return came 1998, August. This one. We had a ceremony in Ghana called Emancipation 98. During that time, skeletons of 2 enslaved Africans, they called them Samuel Carson from New York and Madame Krista from Jamaica. The 2 remains were exhumed, brought them to Accra. That's where we are gathered now. They were in 2 caskets. The door was open. They were taken through to show the graves for a short African funeral ceremony. From there, the remains were taken to a town called Asin Manso. That is why I told you before Africans were brought to the castle, they had a stopover. They were made to bath for the last time. When they arrived here for 3 months, they were not given a chance to bath until they were taken away. The remains were taken to the last bath for reburial in 98. That is why we are reading the door of return. It means out of the millions taken away for 400 years period from African soil, 2 remains were brought. That is telling everybody that at least once in our lifetime we should come to Ghana, Father Macha Cape Coast Castle, and go through the door of return. So we are on top of the underground tunnel, which started from the mill dungeon to the door of no return. And there are cannons all around the castle. These cannons were brought here by the British. It was to attack other Europeans who wanted to take over this building from them, because British were trading in slaves and they were making a lot of money. They were making huge profits from gold and human trade. They didn't want to live here. So other Europeans were envious of them, so they were attacking them. Dutch will attack, Danes will come, French will come, Germans will attack, sea pirate attack. So these ones were used for defense. These were defensive weapons. And this is Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Guinea. And these ones are the cannonballs or the bullets for the guns. This is a gun, this is a bullets. It means cannons and cannonball. All the dungeons across Africa, because Africans were captured from different backgrounds, different cultures, different tribes, kingdoms, and they put them together in these dungeons. They find it difficult to communicate among themselves because they speak different local languages or dialects. Because Africa are full of different dialects. Ghana alone, can talk about 70 of these dialects or more. Nigeria, over 270 of them. So if people coming from all these backgrounds and they put them together as women or men, they have difficulty communicating among themselves. That was one of the reasons why revolt was a very difficult one, because they couldn't understand each other properly. So planning any revolt was really difficult. And then when they got to the plantation also, because they're from different backgrounds, they couldn't maintain the original cultures. They have to adapt. You lose your culture small, you accept yours small, and they created a different cultures around the globe. Because in Africa, the Yorubas have their culture, Shekiris have their culture, Igbos have their culture, in Ghana, Akans have their culture, Gans have their culture. But because they put them together, when they got there, they did not get the original culture. They had to lose some and then add some to whatever they have to create different cultures in the Americas and the Caribbean. Your Majesty, we have climbers and tour. We are in a governor's residence. Look at the breeze here. It is not the same like the dungeon, it cannot be the same. This was the residence for the governor. But this was the governor's living room. One man, one white man on a soil, without a wife and children. Look at the living room. The space, the number of windows. There are 9 windows here. When Europeans came to Africa, they stayed for a longer time, and they realized that we were so powerful spiritually, and then we were healthy people. We were not poor people. Our kings and queens lived normal life. Their people were rich, they developed themselves. So they said that if they don't break our backbone, they cannot capture and control us forever. So they should replace our African traditional religion with their Christianity. By so doing, we forget about our religion, our customs, tradition, they will follow them. By so doing, they can program and control Africans forever. And somehow they succeeded in doing that by Christianizing the African people. So I am saying today that we Africans, from south, east, west to the north, we have to re-educate ourselves in the African way, with the African personality and then identity, so that the African spirits that our ancestors had on, that made them whom they were, we, the Africans, we can build on that. And Africans in the diaspora, I urge everybody that we have to come together as one people. Until we come together, we can never see light.
Oguaa Fetu Afahye, and we are live from the grounds here at the Jubilee Park in Cape Coast. And ladies and gentlemen, Omahane, Osabarimba Kwesi Atta II is here.
Osabarimba Kwesi Atta II.
Who will lead us?
They are leading us. Follow me.
Okay.
Who are we following?
We follow Madam Charlotte.
Where's Nana? Nana, I thought you were being front.
Well, we have some friends from the diaspora also here to enjoy with us, celebrate Oguaa Fetu Afahye at 61 with us. And I know we have an entourage of Nigerians also here to support the King of Warri.
Sir, if you're born here, as a son, you have to send him. I will have been seen. No, they knew. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I told my dear, I'm in a pain far. Yet, on Saffron, Benson, now what can. Hey, yes, and I hear. Yes, and I hear. Cool, yes, through the out can. What can. Oh, no, nah. What's he? Hene and Yamun, I feel Ejiba.
Well, let's say a warm welcome to His Royal Majesty, the King of Warri, together with the Queen. This afternoon, we have Ògíamè Atúwàtse III and Olu Atúwàtse III, the Olu and Olori of Warri. Well, I almost added that they are from the oil-rich city. Let's talk about the Delta state of Nigeria.
Her Excellency Professor Nana J. Lupokajaman, representative from Omahane.
This year's Afahye is particularly special as we celebrate under the theme Innovate to Elevate, harnessing the creative economy for sustainable growth. This theme was very carefully selected by the Afahye Planning Committee as a way of building up on all the historic monuments and fests that we celebrated at the 60th Oguaa Fetu Afahye. We are deeply honored this year to welcome our special guests of honor, their Royal Majesties, the Olu and the Olori of Warri. Their presence here today strengthens the bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood that unite African peoples across borders and demonstrates the enduring power of traditional institutions in fostering unity, cultural exchange, and mutual understanding. To our vibrant and talented youth, I say this: you are the engine of our creative economy. Your energy, your ideas, and your passion are the fuel that will power our city forward. Embrace your creativity, hone your skills, and dare to dream big. The opportunities are limitless, and the future is yours to create. Fetu Afahye is more than just a festival. It is the heartbeat of our city, a vibrant celebration of our history, our culture, and our identity. It is a time when we remember our ancestors, honor our traditions, and come together as a people. But Afahye is also a powerful engine for our local economy. It draws visitors from far and wide and creates opportunities for our businesses, and showcases the incredible talents of our artists and artisans. That is why it is so crucial that businesses and residents of Cape Coast need to embrace and support Fetu Afahye. When you support Afahye, you are not just supporting a cultural event, you are investing in the future of our city. You are helping to create jobs, to foster creativity, and to build a more prosperous and vibrant community for all of us.
This year's theme, Innovate to Elevate, could not be more appropriate. It aligns perfectly with the government's commitment to transforming Ghana through creativity, innovation, and the boundless potential of our people. From tourism to the creative arts, from cultural enterprises to innovative startups, our young people are discovering new avenues of growth inspired by traditions such as the Fetu Afahye. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us always remember that innovation does not mean discarding our tradition. On the contrary, it challenges us to breathe new life into them, to keep them relevant, and project them with pride onto the global stage. The sacred rituals, the vibrant acts of procession, and the colorful traditions of this festival are a living demonstration of how culture and development can work hand in hand. On behalf of the Vice President, I commend the chiefs, Queen Mothers, and people of Ògíamè for your unwavering dedication to preserving our heritage. To our visitors, she extends a warm Akwaaba welcome to our central region and invite you to partake in this rich celebration. And to those and to the sons and daughters of this region, Her Excellency urges you to remain true ambassadors of our heritage wherever your journey takes you to. May this 61st Fetu Afahye bless Ògíamè with renewed unity, prosperity, and joy. May it inspire all of us to innovate, to elevate, to lift not only our economic fortunes, but also our collective resolve, our pride in our identity, and our determination to build the Ghana we all deserve as part of the greater reset agenda of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. On this note, I wish you all a happy festival, happy celebration, and Afishapa to all of you. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Last night, there was a protocol signed between my brother here and myself. And to give you what this protocol is about, is that from now on, when we see ourselves, we are not going to mention our names. We call each other my brother. Because as he himself said, what has divided us is not our own doing. It's the doing of somebody who thinks he is wiser than us. Now we have realized that we have to hold our destiny into our own hands and do what is right for us. And therefore, mentioning his name, my name, he is my brother from today, tomorrow, and for the days ahead of us. The theme is very appropriate. We must look at ourselves, where we lack, how we want to make good of what we lack, look at the future, and plan to meet the future without any hindrance, because we would have prepared properly to meet what is ahead of us. And that is why I call all my people of Cape Coast. What is past is past. Let's all sit back, look at ourselves. Nobody is perfect in this world. Where we have fallen short, let's drop it. Let's reconcile ourselves, forge ahead in unity, and with the help of God, we will succeed. Our message to the President, to the Vice President, as we acknowledge their presence here, we will work hand in hand with them to build a new Ghana, and especially a new Cape Coast. So we thank you for coming, and especially my brother. This is your home. Brothers don't care, with all due respect, where I sleep, you can sleep. Where you sleep, I can sleep. Because it's not the mansion or whatever that makes us brothers. Our brotherhood or brothers go beyond physical things. We are emotionally and by God's grace united. Why are we blacks and not whites? God put us here because he knows we are brothers. That's why you may call your country Nigeria. It doesn't make any difference. You are still a black man like myself. And I cannot be a brother to a white man. It's obvious. So let's start something, a concrete something, which will spread the whole of Africa, for us to realize that we have one destiny, and that destiny should start with us. Irrespective of how small we look, we can start. It is said that it's only one man, one person, who can kill an elephant for the whole village to enjoy. So let's start looking for the elephant, and everybody will come and enjoy. God bless you and thank you. May the good Lord bless all of us. Thank you.
And God bless you too, Osabarimba Kwesi Atta II, Omanhene.